Man, I wish everyone in the world would dream about me.
Well, watch the movie, Steve, and then maybe you won't think that way. Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
Hold on. I got to catch my breath. All right. And I'm Steven. This is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing. Podcast. This first ad
It's also a YouTube
was sent
video.
by
It's not just a podcast.
Carnivale. About this listing, USA Jackson Custom Shop, Rhoads, HSH, Floyd Rhoads, Floyd Rose guitar in
It's
neon.
a Floyd Rose Rhodes.
Yeah, jeez. So I can get through the intro now, but I can't say Floyd Rose Rhodes. Yellow green bevel. We can all agree that this guitar is nothing short of a gem. Well, I can't agree because I haven't seen it yet.
Well, that's a little play on words because he's implying that it's made in the style of an Ibanez gem.
But it's not.
But it's like has that some of those visual like color appointments because there's neon Ibanez gems out there.
The masters at Jackson Custom Shop always deliver, and this piece is no exception. This wild one-off Rhodes Jewel guitar was made exclusively for Capitol Guitars. A bunch of specs that you can read.
Yeah.
Just
read.
Click the imager link.
Yeah.
Go find the picture.
Yeah.
Please note that this guitar is neon yellow / green bevel finish. All of the white streaks, lines, floating orbs, and weird reflections are coming from the studio lights. The guitar itself is immaculate, fresh from the custom shop condition. Capitol Guitars is an authorized Jackson Custom Shop dealer going on 2 decades now. Buy with confidence.
Okay, I'll buy with confidence.
Capitol Guitars is in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Did you see the price, Steve? 777. They want $7,777.77.
That price feels high to me. I'm gonna make this controversial statement right now.
It feels a little steep, huh?
I think that price is too high. Call me crazy.
Guitars are too damn high. I don't know if that is like a talk to us and let's figure it out price.
Sure.
Like we got a lot of numbers here, guys. Just message us and we'll discuss it. Sort of situation. But I also have no idea what's normal for the Jackson Custom Shop. I have no idea. Like every time I see how much like a custom shop ESP is, I'm like, really? Like maybe Jackson is the same way. I don't know.
Jackson might be more because ESP makes some stuff in the US, right?
Yeah, their USA custom stuff is always like crazy expensive.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's fair or not. I just like looking at this. If I owned something like this, I would put a Super Stoker sticker on it. Because it looks like a Super Soaker.
A Stupor Stoker?
A Stupor Soaker. A
Stupor Soaker? A Stupor Soaker is just, it's like
a Stupor Soaker is full of whiskey and you shoot it in your mouth.
Exactly.
You guys know I can't talk, right? I'm terrible at using my fleshy lips to make sounds that other people can understand.
Talk no good.
The tongue's too big is the situation.
Is that really what it is? Because in my case, like when I went to go get, it's just totally off topic. When I went to go, I did my sleep test before the doctor just does like a visual exam. And he's like, stick out your tongue. And so I stuck out my tongue. And he's like, oh yeah, you probably have sleep apnea.
Stick your tongue out. See, I can make my tongue small. Can you make your tongue smaller?
No.
You can't make your tongue smaller? You can't do that. You can't you can't tighten up your tongue and make it pointy?
That's what my tongue is like all the time.
This is a good show. This is a good episode already.
So literally he's like, yeah, your tongue's like too big for your mouth.
When I was a kid, I was doing a little bit of speech therapy stuff. And the speech therapist was like, his tongue's too big for his mouth, sort of thing. But like, I've got a big old head now. I grew into it.
Yeah.
My tongue fits in this situation.
My tongue apparently still does not fit in my mouth. And that's why I have to have a machine that keeps me from suffocating in my sleep, basically.
I'm surprised that you can't. change the shape of your tongue at all? Like, it's just that all the time?
Well, yeah, it's just fat. It's like,
You just got that fat tongue.
it's like a cow tongue.
All right. So anyways, this guitar that looks like a Super Soaker.
Yeah.
It's a combination of styles. You get some Steve Vai in there, you get some Randy Rhoads in there. This is I have to admit, when I was a teen in the 90s learning to play guitar and just starting to window shop for electric guitars, when I saw pictures of Randy Rhoads Jacksons, I was like, yeah, I like that. That's like the V for me. And every chance I got, like going to Guitar Trader, I would pick one up and I'd start to play with it and like, oh yeah, I like the style of this. This is fun.
Well, maybe that'll fit into our topic.
Maybe it will. And then, with this styling with the bright neon colors, I like this. I like this quite a bit. If they made a $600 version of this, I might be getting it. Even though I now know as an adult that flying Vs are like the most like uncomfortable shape to play. Sure. And every Jackson Randy Rhoads that's ever been played for any amount of time, that top wing, the point just gets chipped off every single time.
Well, if you're paying $7,777.77, you got to take care of it.
The last 2 inches of that point are sacrificial. You're going to give that up. You're going to give that up at some point. Like the fate is just going to take it from you.
Go.
It's just going to be gone at some point.
It's the circumcision of guitars.
Only it just kind of falls off on its own.
Right. It's not something that happened. It's not something that happens right away. It's like something that happens later.
Yeah, they should be making these out of aluminum or like putting in a metal cap on the end of those, because that part just breaks off every single time. I've never seen one that was a couple years old that didn't have like major chips and damage on the end of that point up there. But man, they look fun. They're just such a cool shape. Like that's a stage guitar. You want to pop on stage, there you go. That's it.
Yeah. I've never played a Randy Rhoads.
It's a small bodied flying V.
Like I've played your V, once or twice.
My V is very different than that.
I've never played a Randy Rhoads.
Someday I'm gonna fix up that V and make it playable. Like
What's wrong with it right now?
I don't think it's the right pickups for it. There's just things about it that
you need hot rails.
I kind of think I do need hot rails in it. I was experimenting with stuff. I need to recut the pick guard and start over from. You guys can even see it.
I know.
But yeah, like
hey.
Also, it's just really like a really inconvenient, uncomfortable guitar, especially sitting down.
You know what I feel like that guitar actually. I say hot rails, but I don't. In my head, I mean, I haven't played a guitar with rail pickups in it for a long time, but in my head, I still don't like them. Mm-hmm. What it probably just needs are like quarter pounders.
The thing is, go grab it real quick while I talk about it, if you can reach it. So forever ago, like 9 years ago, I finally did this project where I built a Fender style flying V. And the goal was to make a guitar that looked like Fender manufactured a flying V. And I got pretty close and I did some stuff on it. Bring it into shot. Here we go. There she is. I put a parchment pickguard on there because I wanted it to be a little bit off-white, and it aged into being very dark. So I want to redo the pickguard to be bright white to pop against that very sparkly gold body.
Yeah, I didn't realize how yellow it was.
Yeah, I've got, I forget what pickups these are. I forget what those are. But they're Strat-style pickups in there. But I forget, they're what exactly they came out of. I've got a V-blade trim on here, which is really nice. I did a weird kind of placement for the bridge pickup. That's something I was experimenting with back then. But yeah, it's a Fender Flying V. Sometimes I hang it in the back, but boy, is it uncomfortable to play sitting down. Looks great on stage though. Mexican neck on there, Mexican Fender neck. I just need to work on it. I need to get back into cutting pick guards. It's like a whole rig to set up every time I cut a pick guard. It makes a huge mess. But I'm able to do it. I just need to do it. I have the template, so whatever. All right.
Ryan, These strings are so rusty. That's how I know they're not string joys.
It's probably been about 4 or 5 years since I restrung that thing. It just sits around and I don't play it, and I feel bad because it is a cool guitar. It's a Hondo body, by the way. I originally put that together hoping to use it for Dinosaur Ghost, and then I got the Hallmark, and that was that. Is that your car? You heard
that was my car.
Why was it doing that?
I think I hit the key in my pocket.
Oh, okay. So what do you think about this guitar, Steve? You think anyone should buy this?
My car just got broken into
for $7,777.77.
I think this is the quintessential guitar for the ultimate Randy Rhoads fan
and Steve Vai fan.
Yeah.
I think it looks really slick. I love the theming of it. I don't understand the price, but I'm not going to argue with it because I don't understand it. But good work, Jackson Custom Shop. I like looking at it. I'll say that much.
I wanted to do this earlier, and I didn't get to it.
We'll do it right now, Steve.
I'm doing it right now. There is a Jackson Custom Shop tiger-looking thing for $4,600. Another Jackson Rhoads for $5,500. Some kind of San Dimas for $61.
So it's kind of not too far outside the realm of possibility.
Jackson Warrior Custom for $66.
But it's on the high end for sure.
Jackson USA Custom Shop double Rhoads for $77. Is
that a double neck?
No, it's basically a regular V.
Oh, so
instead of being a long V, a long short, it's long.
So both your tips can break off?
Yeah, exactly. So it definitely, like, most of these are used, and the one in the listing, it seems like it's
what I always wanted
as new.
What I really want is a Roswell Rhoads.
This one's listed as new, so that could be one of the big differences.
Maybe. I mean, it's in the realm of possibility. It sounds like it's in a normal range-ish. Yeah. Like it's 12% higher than other guitars. I just guessed on that number. I don't know how close I got.
Here's a brand new relic Jackson Warrior for $8,000.
There's a spider on my mic arm here. He's a cute little guy, so I'll leave him alone.
Is it making a web?
No, he climbed up a web, and now he's just hanging out on the side of the thing.
Fun. You know what else is fun, Ryan?
What's fun, Steve?
Supporting this show.
That is fun. Everyone loves doing that.
We don't have any new ones because, of course, this is the second episode of the night, so there's no names to read off. But if you want to support this show, you can head on over to patreon.com/60cyclehumcast, where for as little as $1 or as much as whatever, you can support the making of this program. Of course, this is how we, pay for things that we need to keep the show running, keep our website going, keep various things that are subscribed to.
A lot on shipping lately.
We've been spending a lot on shipping lately.
Yeah, we've been doing that Hoop Jumpers thing weekly, and we're shipping pedals all over the world. What's the furthest place you think we've shipped so far for the Hoop Jumpers?
I've got one going to Marseille.
Is that in France?
It's on southern France. I
can't believe I guessed that correctly.
I think that one might be the furthest. No, I sent something to Australia last week.
That's pretty far.
But I don't know I don't remember if that was Hoop Jumpers or if that was Patreon.
We're doing giveaways and we're making it international because we have the budget. Why do we have the budget? Because of the Patreons. So huge thanks to the Patreons. We're going to scroll all their names at the end of this episode, and we scroll them whenever we mention them in Hoop Jumpers videos and things like that. Any video that is helped by the Patreons, we try to mention them. They keep the lights on around here. It's amazing how much money it costs for us to run operations here. Yeah. And we do pay ourselves a little bit too for some labor time that goes into producing the show and stuff. Sure, but the majority of it goes into the production costs here. I mean, labor is a production cost. Yeah. Let's be serious about it.
We choose to own our labor.
Yes. We've seized the means of video production.
Yeah. No, but if you're, I'll just say this, if you still listen to this on audio, which according to Spotify, there's a decent number of people who listen to this on audio. If you're okay with the Spotify ads at the beginning and sometimes the end, that's cool. Do what you want. But if you want them to go away, I post this. And not only do I post this on Patreon, the audio version of this, I post it, I don't want to say I posted a little earlier.
Like a couple hours earlier.
Like maybe a couple hours if that matters to you.
If you really want to listen Sunday night instead of Monday morning, there's an option.
If you want to listen at 11:30 p.m. instead of 12:01 a.m., it's an option. But the bigger thing is it's got just us on it. You don't have to listen to, Yamva Casino or,
whatever that is playing in your geography.
You won't get Led Zeppelin because they're not touring, but you might get an ad for Black Dog Sun, the Led Zeppelin Soundgarden tribute band.
Oh my goodness. Is that real?
I don't know, but I want it to be real.
Black Dog Sun.
So that's a perk. Of course, at the $5 level, we've got a couple 60 cycle amp stickers and pics to send to you. And at the $10 and above level, we've also got a enamel pin and a magnet and a special inner circle sticker, and plus whatever, one or two things out of whatever I've got in this swag pack. And also, if you are a business owner of some type that is in this industry and you want a cheap and easy way to distribute, 10, 20, 30 stickers or pics or whatever, I'm always taking that stuff and giving it to our patrons. And if you send it to us, we'll open it on the show. And so it's a little promo for you and it's a little swag for our Patreon, and we will be eternally grateful.
It's a swag redistribution program.
Of course, I'm rocking the Bees Music Shop shirt right now. They've been very generous in sending us stuff, and a lot of that's gone to stickers and pics going to patrons. Rocket Music Gear is another brand that's really helped support with that. Summer School gave me a fat stack of stickers.
Nice.
For that. Who else? Tulpa Effects is another company. And I feel like I'm forgetting some, but those are the ones that I know I've given out recently.
Yeah.
So
it's like a little miniature NAM in your mailbox.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
So that's it. Support, please. Or don't,
don't.
You're supporting by watching right now. Let's be honest.
If you don't want to support us financially, then just thank the people who do in your heart. Just be thankful that those people are out there.
Remember them.
Yeah, remember them.
Send them good vibes.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan.
Yes, Steve.
Do you ever feel like sometimes your wings is small and sometimes your wings is big?
Well, yeah, sometimes my wings is just small enough to fit in my hand. And it's just, just a little guy here, and it's convenient. It's fun. It's easy to get great sounds out of it because it's 1 watt and you can turn it all the way up. And then sometimes you want a big old fill your lap wings. Like sometimes you want your wings to just fit in your hand, and sometimes you want it to fit on your lap,
I'm putting this on the table because otherwise it's going to weigh me down.
Just flop that wings onto the table,
Just
Steve.
Flopped it on there.
We're trying to make dick jokes here, guys.
I don't think they're very funny. Also, it's pronounced wongs.
We should have workshopped this a little bit better.
We've had just 6 weeks
to make
it better, and it's only gotten worse.
But do you get the metaphor? There's little ones, there's big ones.
If you're looking for a little bedroom amp, the VT1's great. I've got the Mini 5. I really like that one. But this guy here, this is the Wang's OD30. This is a big, old, serious guitar amp for playing out or in your bedroom, wherever you want to do, wherever you want volume.
What we have here is bedroom and headroom. There's the thing. You got your bedroom amp and your headroom amp.
Ryan and I, we call these amps import boutique. They're made to very exacting specifications on double thick PCB, which is just to say, like, they're heavy duty. They're meant to be played.
Right.
They're built well. They're not skipping. What is it? Skipping. What do you skip? Cutting corners. They're not cutting corners.
What do I skip? I don't know. See, I skip all sorts of stuff.
Rope. They're not skipping rope. They're making amps. Go check them out. I got a link down below to the Wong's Shopify. I've got a link to Ryan's demo, I think, of this amp or maybe that amp. I'm not sure.
They're made in the way where if you ever wanted to have them repaired and serviced, you can take it to any tech and they're going to be able to do it because it's not a bunch of SMD components. It's not a bunch of weird circuit boards with stuff that no one's ever going to be able to find. It's tubes. It's tube sockets, it's resistors and capacitors, and it's transformers. It's classic amp construction.
Yeah.
Made in like a boutique style, but at import prices. So go check them out. Check out the link down below. We've been friends with the U.S. rep at Wang's for a long time now, so we're very happy to be able to help promote them.
Yep.
It's a big boy, isn't it? That's a heavy one.
All right, this next ad, I don't know who it's from because my iPad
sorry for our
closed.
sloppy euphemisms, guys. Kind of fumbled that one, didn't we? Yeah, my thing closed too.
This is from Dave Santander. This is called EVO, limited color of EVO 0101Z with skeleton structure. Blast shell pink, now in stock. A masterpiece that has been treated with pink alumite by applying intense sand. The matte texture is stylish. We'll see about that. This limited production with a maple neck.
Steve is still chewing his dinner, apparently.
The crisp sound, even when distorted, is the beginning of a new EVO. Is it alumite? Alumite?
Something like that.
Finish is not painted, so it's not heavy and does not interfere with the sound of the body. Oh, wow. The Godo 510 tremolo makes it easy to change gauges and adjust the bridge for irregular. What? Clear sound image.
I don't think you need to read everything.
Tuning.
Just look at the pictures, Steve.
I can already tell. You know that like TikTok meme that's like, wow, everybody's so creative. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
It's like cooking. It's usually cooking.
Why did they do that?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's how I feel just from reading this, that I'm going to look at the picture.
Just look at the guitar.
No, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. I actually kind of like it. I actually think it's kind of cool. Like, I could see myself strapping one of these on, getting on a stage.
So what is this? An aluminum veneer machined body?
Right.
Okay. What's alumite? Is that just like
I don't know.
the painting technique?
And it's probably it's probably some sort of proprietary process that they have or whatever. I want to know what the little extra holes are. There's little holes throughout that seem to be extra. I don't know what those are for. They don't seem to have a function.
Weight relief.
I'm talking about like the 3 holes behind the bridge.
I know.
And
those are for weight relief too.
No. Like, is it like acoustic chambering or something like that? Or is there some sort of like micro adjustment going on in there? But it's got switches. It's got multiple push buttons. It's got 2 extra switches, and then it's got pickup selector switches. So I'm assuming there's like kill switches and out of phase and coil splits and things like that. But I actually do kind of like the body shape.
Well, Ryan, if you let me read the rest of it, you would have learned
all right.
1 volume control, 1 tone control, a series switch, a parallel switch, a tap switch, and a kill switch.
There you go. But what do you think? What do you think of the looks of this?
It's not bad.
It's not bad, right?
It's not. I don't love it, but it's fine.
It's $2,600.
Oh, now I hate it.
Well, Steve, you don't have to hate it for too long because it's already sold. It can't hurt you. Yeah. Don't worry.
It can't hurt you.
Yes, it's already gone. Someone bought this.
Is this a brand, EVO? I've never heard of it. Is it? Are they like?
It looks like a brand.
Are they a Japanese guitar company?
I don't know. I don't know if they're Japanese or
EVO,
Chinese or American or Canadian or
music.
Could be Brazilian.
What does that say? Something evolution, which is already problematic because evolution isn't real.
Yeah, the devil hid all those dinosaur bones to fool us. Oh my gosh, Steve. What are we doing right now?
Well, I'm trying to figure out more about this brand.
Right. I don't know. I just like looking at it. I think it's kind of a cool look.
There's another one on Reverb in a different color.
Aluminum guitars and metal guitars are such an interesting niche of builds. Like, there's people out there who absolutely love them, and then the rest of us are just like, oh, I guess that's cool. I guess I don't know. I like my regular old guitars here, but this is one where, like, I don't know, slap some single coils in there, make a Jazzmaster version with an offset trim. I might be into this sort of construction. I think it looks neat. I like the kind of industrial design thing going on here. And I even like that swoop out of the butt end of it. Like, it's got some fun lines to it. Visually, I like looking at this.
I think that swoop out works because of the way the rest of it is. And
I think it balances out, because I usually don't like a really long, pronounced top or bottom horn. But I think it balances out and makes it work with my eye a little better.
Apparently, these guitars have been made famous by a guitar player who's Hirasawa. I don't know who Hirasawa is.
I don't know either, but I don't know most people, so that doesn't mean anything.
Hirasawa.
If I hear a name and I don't know who it is, I just automatically assume that they're very famous and well known. If I'm hearing the name, it means someone's talking about them, so there's something going on, right? I don't ever go like, oh, I've never heard of them, so they must be nobody. I just always assume ignorance on my part.
He's a Japanese guitarist, obviously, because this is a guitar.
Yes.
And it's in Japan.
It would be,
I mean, maybe that's not
it'd be surprising to find out that he was a Japanese neurosurgeon who had a signature guitar or whatever.
Apparently, he's done a bunch of different soundtracks, but the only he's worked on the anime. He's like done the music for the anime Berserk. I think
he's an anime guitarist. I know that there's crazy guitar stuff that happens in anime. So
that's like that's the only one I recognize, but that doesn't mean other folks. There's probably at least like 10 people listening right now who are like, "How do you not know who this guy is?"
Gosh, yeah, I don't know who like well established like American and European top name guitarists are a lot of the time.
But I
don't worry about it.
If I turned on, like, just was cruising YouTube and got some like Japanese, jazz fusion metal thing come up on my feed, and someone in the band was playing a guitar like this, zero surprise.
Sure, yeah.
Like, they have really cool guitar designs, and I think this is, the more I look at it, the more I like. Again, talking about the topic we're going to get into in a few minutes.
Sure.
This would fit in there for me. Like,
okay.
That's all I'll say.
All right. Well, maybe we should get into it.
Well, no, Ryan, we have to do the next thing.
Oh, let's do the next
and
sponsorship.
The next thing is what's new.
I don't have anything new. Do you have something?
Nothing is new.
Do you have something new?
No.
I don't have anything new.
All right. Well, this episode is brought to you by Chase Bliss.
That's right, Steve.
They have something that's new. It's the Onward.
Yeah.
And if you want to know more about it, you can go to chasebliss.com. They've got a video. They've got a bunch of stories. But it is a glitchy landscape machine. It reacts to the dynamics of your playing. So it's not just
it's like an envelope controlled bleep and blooper.
Yeah.
You want to have these gritty, glitchy freakouts that follow the dynamics of your playing. Go watch some videos on this thing.
Go check
it out.
It's
pretty freaky. And I think it might be stereo. The video that I was watching, there's some sort of stereo spread thing going on with it. Like, I was trying to figure out what was going on there.
It sounds like you need to buy one.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about turning my my cut of the Chase Bliss sponsorship into a pedal. Every now and then I do it. Got to do it, Got to collect these things so I can pay for my kids' college someday. Oh my gosh.
That only works when they become discontinued.
I know.
Ryan, let's hit this topic.
It doesn't actually. I'm never going to be able to pay for my kids' college. That's a pipe dream. Are you kidding?
They're going to community college and then they're going to get buried in student loan debt.
No, they're gonna be on the wasteland like trading lizard skins for goju, Steve. That's
all right,
my plan for my children and the future of the world. So.
Before we get to the topic, okay, are we good with Chase Bliss?
We're excellent with.
Have we filled our contractual obligation?
There's no contract. There's barely a handshake.
I know. Yeah, there's not a handshake because there's a hug.
It's a deep, like chest to chest hug with Joel Corte that happened like 6 years ago, and he just keeps sending us money and keeps saying that he loves us. So. Thank you, Chase Bliss.
I saw this thing when you said that, like, oh, my kids are going to be trained in lizard skins on the wasteland. It made me think of this thing I saw the other day on I think it was on the subreddit Facepalm. Mm-hmm. And it was this like content creator who's like has 8 kids and they all have like military names. So they're either named after like one of their kids' names,
like colonel or general or something, or private.
Not quite that military, but like they're
like Sherman.
Their most normal kid names are probably Gunner, which is a name that's raising in popularity. One of their kids is named Kinsey.
What does Kinsey mean?
Kinsey is like the name of a general, like Sherman.
Okay. All right,
gotcha.
Gotcha.
And they've got like one of their kids is named after like the base that her and her husband were stationed in Iraq, different things like that. And so someone made the comment like, oh, good luck, good like, way to screw your kid's future by giving them names that are dumb, which is like kind of a cold take to throw on kids.
Those aren't the worst names ever.
But her, in like one of their kids' names, I think it was like Stratford. But
That's
still,
fine.
it's like whatever. Like they're all easily.
You can shorten that and be Ford, or Strat.
Are
you going to be a truck person or a guitar person? You have two options.
The response though was, my kids aren't going to need to get a job because I'm raising 8 entrepreneurs. And what that feels like it's code for is I'm exploiting my children for family vlog content. And when they're old enough, they're going to exploit themselves on YouTube too. Also as well.
I mean, being an entrepreneur is great.
Do you think
if that's what you want to do, not everyone wants to do that.
And do you like think of, I mean, technically you're an entrepreneur, but do you think of yourself as an entrepreneur?
No, I think of myself as a creative.
I think that there's a cringe. I personally think it's a little cringe when content creators refer to themselves as entrepreneurs as if, like, I get it. Like, you're running a business.
Like it's a technicality thing. Like, technically, we're influencers.
Sure.
But we're not who people talk about when they talk about influencers.
And
because we're not just holding up random products and going like, oh wow, I can't wait to dive into this. Like, everything that we do is very obvious and focused in a very specific industry. And when I think of an entrepreneur, I think of someone who is deeply profit and business focused. There's someone who is building businesses for the purpose of selling them and then using that capital to build new businesses that they will then again sell and things like that. That's an entrepreneur. That is someone who is trying to become a capitalist sort of thing. I think of myself as a creative. I'm someone who works for the purpose of being able to make a living doing creative things.
Right. But when you think about it, right, like, I guess you could, and I'll get off this. I just thought it was like wild to be like, I have 8 kids and I basically expect all of them to become,
that's a bonkers
to like become you. Like, again, she didn't say I expect them all to become YouTubers.
Sure.
But to throw it out there as if like I'm an entrepreneur because I'm an influencer and I want my kids to be entrepreneurs as well. It's like your experience with entrepreneurship is just getting sponsors for your channel, which again is also my experience with entrepreneurship, but I don't call myself an entrepreneur when I make an Instagram post saying, hey, Reverb, you got any more of those brown notebooks left? Because I sure would like some more.
But also, like, I think there is value in teaching your kids and preparing your kids for that to be a possible future for them and encouraging that because a lot of people historically in the American workforce, it's been very much, you need to get a degree and you need to get a sit down job. And the goal is to get the nice desk with a window and then you will have made it. Then you will have had success and you will retire in 50 years with a golden watch or whatever. And that's just not a reality for the vast majority of people. Like, it's a lot smarter to prepare your kids and raise them in a way like, here's basic steps to starting businesses. Like, here's how to recognize opportunities. Here's how to think about how to better your life without having a boss, without having an employer, because when you're working for an employer, like, your value is being mined by your employer, basically. And maybe your value is good enough on its own and you can, work for yourself. And that there's a lot of hard parts about that. And there's a lot of benefits to that and just being realistic about it. And then like informing your children that there are those possibilities and they don't just have to find some sort of sit down job somewhere, The
world is your oyster.
Right. But also,
and like an oyster, you are going to be split open and sucked down the gullet by some person who has way more money than you do.
And somehow that's an aphrodisiac, like an oyster. But
anyway,
well, I was gonna make a point. Now it's gone. Whatever.
I feel like you made a pretty good point.
I made a pretty good point, I think. Yeah. Why not?
I just think of it as like, regardless of whether they work for themselves or whatever, like imagine those kids like want to go to college, like be scientists. Like,
There's people
you
who
know, or
there are
whatever.
people who thrive in traditional work environments. They're sick. They're sickos. I don't understand the middle, but they exist. And you like, I hope that everyone who thrives in those sorts of environments, or thrives in a self-employed environment, or thrives in an environment where they get to build a business and be the boss, I hope they find that in themselves.
Yeah.
And they feel empowered to reach that point in their life, you know, because we need all sorts of people. That's the reality of it.
All right, Ryan, this topic was sent by Amanda Coombs.
That's right, Steve. Let me pull it up so that we can read it. I've been putting like screen grabs in the videos, like hard baked into the videos, which I feel is like fun. Right no, they're like down here.
Right. Right here.
So everyone can know what we're talking about while we ramble for 20 minutes.
Sure. That actually helps me do the timestamps too.
Amanda Coombs asks, what about guilty pleasure guitars that maybe don't fit in your typical genres, or people would make fun of you for loving? Like some people laugh at Explorers and Vs or wonder why you have a Kiesel. What's your guilty pleasure guitar, Steve? Like what's a guitar that people would be surprised to know that like you pick it up every time you see one, sort of thing, or you think about buying it, but maybe you never get around to it, or maybe you do own one. I don't know. It doesn't have to be a specific model, but like a flavor of guitar, you know? And I can answer first if you want me to, if you need time.
You
to
think.
That
Last time too.
Sure,
you answered first last time.
I don't know.
I always think I'm like a pretty traditional, you know, Strats and Tellys, and I got a Les Paul. I think on my list of like a guilty pleasure, I kind of actually feel like that Kingston bass I just bought is a little bit of a guilty pleasure.
Sure.
It's still not set up fully the way that I want.
You're
to
definitely guilty of buying it.
I'm guilty. but I think also, like, I guess I could still see myself playing that one live. I got a lot of playing out of it, but that white Italia bass that I have is like so bonkers, and everyone loved it, and I love playing that. And I got that from Grant at Big Ear Pedals, but that one's like a little bit way outside of the box for me.
I couldn't see you walking into a store and choosing that, but I love that you have it.
No, I always thought that's why he sent it, because I would talk about those from time to time. Right. How like cool I thought they.
But you're so practical that you're more likely to go buy another jazz bass.
Yeah,
you know,
gotta have a jazz bass.
Like if you had a budget and you were going to go buy a bass guitar for regular gigging, you would get something fairly standard, I think. Yeah. That's my roundabout way of calling you boring.
That's fair. I think on the guitar side, Strandberg.
Really?
Yeah. If I could
see that. Yeah.
If somebody was like, here's $3,000, I think, you know, the selection would have to be very narrowed down, because with $3,000, I'd probably call Doug and be like, hey man, what can we do for $3,000?
Sure. Yeah. He's talking about Dougie K.
Yeah.
Mr. Cower.
Doug over at Cower Guitars.
Yeah.
But I think if I went to a shop and it was like, we are a Prague guitar shop, you have a $3,000 gift card to us, and there was a Strandberg on the wall, I don't think I would look at like anything else. I'd just be like, yeah, Strandberg.
They're really cool. Like,
have you played one?
Yes.
Those Endura necks are so comfortable.
The super weird squared off neck.
When you first hold it, you're like, I don't understand this. And then you like fumble for maybe 60 seconds. And then all of a sudden it just clicks.
I clicked with it pretty dang quick. And it's been years. I tried them at Toman forever ago. But it's this whole ergonomics thing where it follows like how your hand would go down the back of it. Mm-hmm. And so your thumb is always against, or your thumb or the part of your hand that's against the back of the neck is always on something flat and even.
It's also like a little trapezoidal. All the way down.
Like there's like I saw a video, like an excerpt somewhere like TikTok or Instagram or something, where someone was like, oh, I don't understand the neck. I don't get it. Why blah, 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 blah. And they were making a big deal about it. Like, I liked it. I liked it right away. And I'm someone who plays fairly traditional stuff, you know? Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I think for me, like something that I think a lot of people might be surprised by is that I do enjoy Floyd Rose guitars. It makes sense when you think about it for more than a second. Like, I love them wacky wiggle sticks. And is there any wiggle stick wackier than a Floyd Rose? Like, I can't own them though regularly because I abuse it.
Right.
Like I
remember
crazy and just dive bomb every chance I get, pinch harmonic every chance I get, and roll, like dump it and slack the strings and stuff. And like, who cares? It's gonna go back in tune right away.
Do you have a Floyd equipped guitar right now?
I do. Technically, I have the Zoe.
Oh right, yeah.
It's got a really cheap knockoff Floyd on it situation. I have that thing in a case. I need to figure out something to do. I need to like auction it off or something like that eventually. Sure. I don't know. Well, like
you're not playing. Well, I was going to say you should get like a.
But I owned an Ibanez years back. I forget the model number. But it was like a $450 tier Ibanez with Floyd on it.
Before that, you had the Hamer Slammer.
I did have the Hamer Slammer. That was my first electric guitar, and it came with a super cheap Floyd knockoff on it, and then I broke it because I tightened it down too much, and it split the little block that holds onto the string. And so then I paid way too much money in a guitar shop to have them install a real Floyd Rose on it. They had to move the posts and stuff to make it work. And and after I got the bill, I was like, why did I just do this? Like, I just doubled the cost of this guitar. I paid like $275 for this guitar.
After they did all the work and they handed you the bill, you're like, oh, can you undo that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a child. I didn't know that this would happen. But that guitar was such a learning experience for me. And I had so much fun modding it and taking all the paint off and like learning how to do coil splits and out of phase mods. And like, I did everything to that guitar. I should have kept it forever, but I hit a point where like, I just wasn't using it for anything. I sold the parts. Basically, I sold it for parts.
Yeah. You came up a couple weeks ago on Floyd Rhoads chat on
the official Floyd Rose chat.
No, I was watching, speaking of Amanda, who sent this topic, her brother's live stream. I was watching that, and they mentioned that Badlands guitars like is they're not in. I wouldn't say they're in flux, but like Phil McKnight's apparently no longer doing.
Well, I think his plan was always to be like a temporary spokesperson,
right? But he was for like the first run or the first couple runs, he did like all the QC and setup, I guess.
Oh, okay,
or a lot of it. And so now they're not doing that, and so somebody's like, yeah, so they should find like a YouTuber for Floyd, like with Floyd Rose. And then Ben said, no, they should get Ryan to do it because he's a Trem guy, but he's not a Floyd Rose guy. And I was watching it, and I didn't mention it at the time, but I was thinking like, no, Ryan is a Floyd Rose guy. He just doesn't have.
No, I could set up a Floyd Rose with my eyes closed. Like I've done it so many times. Like,
but I still think it would be fun if Badlands sent you one of their guitars to be like, yeah, just make a video of where you're setting up a Floyd Rose.
If the right Floyd Rose guitar opportunity pops into my life, I'll probably go for it. There was one that was a Guitar Trader forever ago.
You need the Les Paul Access.
I forget what brand it was, but the way the Floyd was set up was the wiggliest trim I've ever experienced my entire life. Like, you know how you can like trill it and like, like it was crazy how much it would trill. I wish I'd bought that thing. It wasn't a lot of money, but I was broke back then, so I didn't. Sure. And it was like seafoam green with, it might've been a Jackson. It might have been a weird Jackson because I remember it had like it had active single coils in it.
Oh,
it was like laid out like a Strat with active single coils, black pickups, white pick guard, and seafoam or surf green body. It was a fun one. Should have got it.
What you need to do is put a Floyd Rose on the Fesley.
Here's what I want is, no, I'm not going to do that. I either want a Floyd Rose equipped Mosrite style thing, a heavy metal Mosrite, or I want like a Floyd Rose like Jaguar or something like that.
Does Donable make one of their Mosrite styles with a Floyd?
I don't think so. Okay. They might though.
It's an idea.
Yeah. I think they're not. They probably do guitars with Floyds, but I think they're more into that like doomy, like hard-tailed everything, kind of like extended scale, sort of like sludgy sort of stuff. I could be wrong though. This little spider guy is just hanging out with me over here. He's like floating on his little.
That'd freak me out.
I'm cool with him. He's not touching me. Oh, he's climbing behind me now. Where are you going, buddy? I'm going to break your web and you can swing away from me. I don't even know what you're connected to. I'm going to find him in a couple months in here, and he's going to be this big. It's going to be an arachnophobia thing. He's going to make a home inside the Dumble back there. lay a pulsating egg sack. Oh man. Another, like, going back to
he's on your wang now.
My get that spider off my little wang. Oh, it's on my big wang. I got a spider on my big wang. My first electric guitar was a Slammer by Hamer.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for Hamers as a brand, and I owned that like it was like a PRS style.
Yeah, you had the Sunburst.
I had the Sunburst. It's called a Sunburst, but they come in different colors.
Yeah.
That's just what it's called.
I never understood that.
I had a Sunburst Korean Hamer that I absolutely loved, and our buddy Adam would make fun of me for it. He's like, "Oh, you playing PRSs now?" Because it kind of it has that look,
yeah.
But they feel different to me than that. Like something about Hamers speak to me. Every time I see a Hamer of any body style, of any loadout, I pick it up. I'm like, oh, I got to nod to where I started out here and check out this Hamer guitar because I'm fond of them. Like if I ever get like a DC Junior style guitar of my pure choice, like I spent my money on it and got to pick it specifically and spent a bunch of money on it, I'd probably go for a Hamer over a Gibson.
Right. Hamer. What's the Hamer model? Hamer Special, I think
it's a Special, yeah.
You had the Echo Tone too.
Yeah, that was a great guitar.
I had a 335 style.
I had a couple Korean Hamers that I really liked, and the Echo Tone was great. Solid top on those, and on Gibson style versions of that body, like ES335 style, it's book matched and split down the middle.
Sure.
That Korean Hamer version, just single piece of wood on the top. I don't know if that's good or bad. Like you fight it out in the comment section, but I always thought that was kind of neat that it wasn't two pieces of wood glued together. It's just one solid piece of wood on the top.
Well, was it a lamb top? Because the Gibsons are laminated, so you wouldn't like the very visual top might be one piece, but it's actually multiple layers.
If I remember correctly, I think it was solid.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was laminated. Cool. I could be totally wrong, but I think that's the way it was.
That guitar was really cool.
It was really cool. I sold it. The problem with those is like they had no value, and it didn't matter how cool it was and how good it was. I couldn't get any money for it when I eventually sold it. And like I paid $200 for it, and I'm belly aching that I sold it for $225 or whatever.
I've seen those pop up here and there on the used market locally, but they're always either cherry or natural.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Sunburst, the 3-tone Sunburst like yours was.
That's one where my heart does hurt a little bit that I sold it, and I could get one again, but whatever. I don't really need to own a semi-hollow.
What about, we talked about, the Randy Rhoads is kind of on this list of guilty pleasure guitar. That's why I was saying the EVO. I was like, yeah, I think I could have a lot of fun with that, but it feels like I'd be like playing someone else's guitar.
Right.
What do you think about, like, how would the general world, like, when I was looking up that Randy Rhoads model and seeing what else was out there for Jackson Custom Shop, I was seeing the Warrior, and of course there was like the Ibanez. Do you remember the Ibanez Xiphos? That was their X body guitar. Like, what do you think about those kinds of things? Like,
no, I'm not tempted by those.
Those are just it's like, it's not like, oh man, I wish I could have this, but everyone, everyone who watches YouTube would make fun of me.
I don't want one of those, but Ernie Ball makes that one.
Oh, the Tosin, what's that called?
Why can't I type?
What is that thing called?
Ernie Ball guitars. Let's see if it comes up with a general search here.
It's not. It might.
Oh, there it is. The Kaizen.
Kaizen, yeah.
I like that body shape. The Kaizen is fun. It's kind of offsetty. There's something kind of like, there's something neat about it. If you put a pick guard on there and gave it single coils, like that's a surf guitar. Like it's a fun shape. It kind of leans back into this funky 60s import, Italian, Japanese sort of like thing.
Yeah.
I know when most people look at it, they see a hard edged, like experimental shape, new shape sort of metal guitar, but I see something different in that. I like it. I'm weird because like, yeah, I'm a surf rock guy and I love a lot of really traditional guitars, but I am not opposed to getting weird and getting fully modern tech. As long as I can play it and have fun with it and run it through a drippy spring reverb, who cares? I'm going to have a good time, you know? I like looking different.
Do you feel like the St. Vincent is a guilty pleasure guitar for you?
No, I feel like that's like a me guitar. Like there's no guilt in that. Like,
well, I'm not saying you should feel guilt. Do you think the perception of it is like, I guess I'm thinking about
that
this
it's a
like,
woman's gutar, Steve.
I'm not even saying
it's a
that
guitar
it's a
for ladies.
Guitar.
You think because I don't have the right equipment, I can't play that equipment?
No, that wasn't what I thought. I was just thinking like, do you think there's any kind of perception around that guitar in general where people are surprised that you have one and that you play it?
No, I think it's kind of like an honorary offset in a lot of ways, where people probably look at it and like, oh, well, there's like an outsider guitar, an unusual shape that like kind of like indie rockers would be into, or people who are kind of like on the fringes of various genres would be into that sort of thing.
Yours with the triple mini humbucker. Oh, it's behind me.
It's behind you. Yeah.
I'm looking in up the monitor.
Yeah.
We got the monitor over there. And so visually it's over here, but I'm looking at myself.
Okay. Steve, you've been on camera before.
I know. But I mean, so visually it's a 3 pickup guitar, so it does kind of like, and it's 3 mini humbuckers, so it's like kind of in that Strat adjacent space.
I've been thinking about like heavy modifying it. I've been thinking about giving it the Van Halen treatment, like Frankensteining it, like stripping off the paint, pulling out pickups, like changing electronics, like getting gritty and rat roddy with it. Because when I look at the St. Vincent, I see like the soul of like a Vox Phantom hiding in there.
Right.
I see the soul of a dirty, gritty garage rock guitar hiding in there.
I'm giving my St. Vincent a makeover.
All right, Steve wrote the clickbait. Now I have to do it.
Yep. So that was one question I had thinking about that. Going the opposite of this question, is there a guitar that you own or have owned that is maybe the opposite of it? I would say, like, I'm trying to think of how to describe this. It's the opposite of a guilty pleasure. It's a
justified pleasure.
It's a non-guilty displeasure. So what I mean by that is it's a guitar where, like, if you pulled the guitar down and said, do you guys think, you guys being the viewer think, or the listener think that I like this guitar, they would all be like, yeah, that's you. And
right, there's a Ryan guitar.
And you'd be like, you guys are fucking dumb. I hate this guitar.
Wrong. I hate every part of this guitar, and I'm going to throw it in the trash and light it on fire.
Like, do you have one of those?
I think the Rickenbackers are that.
Like, do you think people think
like,
you should like it?
On paper, being someone who loves, like 60s music and early rock and roll and stuff like that, and kind of like outsider fringe elements of that.
Right,
and it being kind of jangly and very associated with, Californian music.
Yeah.
It's a surprise to me that I don't like them. Like that was the premise of like the first video I did with them at Moe's Guitars, is like, why don't I like these? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Someone explain to me why I don't connect to these. And I think that is upsetting to some people for their own reasons.
Sure.
But it's also like, it is a little bit perplexing that I'm not hot on Rickenbackers. It would seem like those would be me guitars. And for whatever reason, they just aren't. What about you? What's your justified displeasure? But your surprisingly justified displeasure.
I don't know if I have one because I don't think I've owned enough guitars to have one.
You've gotten a chance to try all sorts of stuff, though.
I think my continued ownership of a Jag Stang, like
that is a little bit like
I don't like it.
You're not,
and some of
you're not a grunge guy really anyway.
Sure, some of it is that so some of it is that I don't think the vibrato is set up properly for the kind of playing I do. It's probably just not set up properly in general. I will say that the humbucker bridge single coil neck configuration, that is like kind of where how I ended up in a Telecaster with the same configuration. I don't like the way the body feels to me. I don't, I've broken a switch on it because clearly I was just a violent teenager.
Well, that, Jag Stangs kind of bring violence out of you. Like,
I guess, for a long time I actually couldn't use the humbucker in that guitar because the switch was broken.
Right.
So
it is funny, like hearing you talk about it, because it always feels like you're holding on to it with some sort of hopes that someday it's going to pay off.
Well, it's my first electric guitar.
Sure.
So there is that tie.
But I don't own my first electric guitar. The Hammer Slammer is gone.
It's because your first electric guitar sucks.
It didn't suck. It was great. I probably should have given it to you. You probably would have liked it.
No, what am I going to do with a Floyd Rose?
Shreds.
Yeah, I know.
You were just going to shred, Steve.
Yeah, the frets are pretty worn out, like probably beyond the first 5 frets probably would just need to be replaced on my Jag Stang, because mine's a 96, and the guy who owned it before me was in a couple local bands, and when he sold it to me, when he sold it to me, I ended up talking to him about it later, he actually sold it to my mom at a church garage sale. Or parking lot sale. And then I talked to him. I was like, yeah, my mom was the one who bought it, and da-da-da-da. And I was like, yeah, it's a really unique feel. Like the neck is pretty different from a Strat because it's so small and whatever. And he's like, yeah, that's part of why I sold it. And he holds up his hand, and dude has like sausage fingers. I think he was like a construction worker or something.
Hands.
And he just had like big, like gristly, muscly hands. And he's like, yeah, I just didn't really get along with it. It's like, well, clearly he got along with it enough to absolutely destroy the frets. But yeah, there's just aspects of that guitar where I don't know that I like really love it. I got sick when you did Guitar House. I really wanted to bring that guitar down and make a video with Mike and just have him set it up.
I could set it up for you. It would take me forever to get to it, but I could set it up to play.
Well,
like
that's why I wanted to do it during Guitar House.
Have you ever played
Yeah,
mine? Okay.
Yours plays a lot different than mine.
Okay,
I will give it that.
Yeah. I think it might be a setup issue for you.
Yeah, and I think that's also something where, again, it's an offset. Historically, I've been like a Telecaster person.
Yeah.
I've owned three Telecasters.
When I close my eyes and think of a Steve guitar, I imagine a Telecaster with a humbucker.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, there might be a single in the neck, but you got a humbucker in there. Like that's the Steve electric guitar, a Telecaster with a humbucker. It could be any Telecaster with a humbucker, and that's a Steve guitar.
So that's kind of I think the one. When I went to like on the bass side, in some ways that Gibson bass I owned was a guilty pleasure, but multiple people have commented like that is the Fenderiest Gibson bass ever made. So so much for that.
Yeah.
And I guess my on the bass side, my like non-guilty displeasure is P basses.
Really?
You
can't get into a P bass.
So like P specials have been fine. I've played a few of those that I really liked, but
it's
like
funny that you say you're not an offset guy, but then you prefer jazz bass.
Yeah, but something about the P bass, I think that's more of like a sound thing though. Like I'm just something about the way they they have kind of a springy sound in my ear that just, I think it's probably mostly that I don't know, I haven't been around one enough to really figure out how to dial it in.
Yeah.
Like sonically dial it in. Whereas in my, a jazz bass, both pickups at full, that's a quintessential bass tone for the way that I think about playing bass.
All right. Still chewing on dinner?
Jeez, man. You got anything else on this topic?
I don't. I feel that was a pretty good discussion. What do you guys think? Like, what's your guilty pleasure guitar? What's your justified displeasure guitar?
Yeah, tell us about how you really, really want an Ibanez like S body for your country band.
Sure.
Like you can't get one of those. You can't get a Music Man John Petrucci because it won't make sense in your Mumford & Sons cover band.
Yeah, totally. I always think it's funny when you see that, like you see some band playing and, one of the guys in the band, one of the people in the band has gear that just doesn't fit the vibe, or like they have like a personal style that just doesn't fit like everyone else has. Like for an example, like just to illustrate an example, to construct an example here, like everyone in the band is doing full like rock and roll torn jeans, leather coats sort of thing, and then you got bassist Joe over there in the corner in khakis and a polo. He's like, there's like, that's the bassist we could find, and he didn't have rock and roll fantasies. The rest of us all have hairdos and like bracelets and jewelry. We're all trying to be Johnny Depp over here, and just.
He's also the only one that owns a house. The other 4 guys are like in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, but he's also secretly a serial killer.
Stay out of the basement.
Right. The Basement. That's the title of this horror movie. The Basement.
This last ad was sent by Nick Carter. It's electric guitars.
The Basement Killer.
Electric guitar is very unique. It's in Owensburg, Kentucky. It's 4 guitars. One is sold.
This is quite a way to end the show with 4 more guitars.
Electric guitar is very unique. $300. I don't know if that's each or total.
It's got to be. I hope it's
right.
You know what? It's debatable. It's debatable. It could go either way.
This first one is an AMC Roadkill electric guitar made from 1970s hubcaps. There is
that's a good looking hubcap.
Crutch 22. Electric guitar made from a crutch. Thing, an electric guitar made from a ceramic hand. And I don't know if the pictures are in here because it's sold, but Drift Away, electric guitar made from a large piece of
cricklet. I have a
cricklet.
picture of it, yeah.
All guitars playing sound great. I make lots of guitars out of unusual things. If you have something that you'd like to turn into a guitar, let me know, and I'll check it out to see if it can be done. I'm wondering if this is $300 each, because like I feel like AMC hubcaps got to be worth something.
Here's what I want us to do, Steve. I want us to rank these 4 guitars best to worst.
Also, all these parts for this AMC are first act parts.
Yeah, it's the first act bridge pickup and stuff like that. And they're probably first act next and whatever. Which isn't terrible. Those pickups were compelling in their own way. But it's funny when you see them. Okay, so I'm going to start with worst.
Wait, is one worst or is one best?
Because I think I'm split on what I think are the bests. Because I'm in between the hubcap and the crutch.
As best?
As best.
Okay, what's worst?
I feel like it's got to be the hand. Like, that's the worst ergonomic thing here. And one of them is just a stick. And I look at the hand, and like I'd rather play the stick than the hand.
Both the hand and the stick should be upright bases.
Yeah. Like that's not something you hold against your body. Even on like, what are you even going to do? Put it on your lap? Like it's not going to work. The hubcap, it's a banjo. It's going to work on your knee.
At least the stick is long enough that you can like maybe lay it on the ground while you're,
sure.
It's going to counterbalance the neck. The hand, like you throw that on, you can't even put it on a strap.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever as an object, let alone a musical instrument.
Okay, I've solved the hand. This could make the hand the best.
You solved the hand.
I solved the hand.
Okay.
If the pickup is microphonic, you write a song called
Cup the Mic.
Talk to the Hand.
Talk to the Hand. Oh my
If
God.
you buy this and you write us and the pickup is microphonic and you write a song called Talk to the Hand, this is the best guitar in this lot. Otherwise it is the worst. I agree.
But the crutch I like because it's like when we did the tennis racket guitar. It's the object that people pick up
and do air guitar.
Pretend to be playing guitar with it. Like it's a shape that kind of works. Like as much as like any like flying V would work. Comparative to a flying V, this is just as ergonomic.
It's wild to me how much of the crutch makes me think of, and again, this fits in with things that you do with a crutch when you don't need a crutch. This makes me think of like the AK-47 guitars.
Right.
Like the machine gun guitars. That's what this looks like to me.
This is the guitar you bust out when you hear someone say that pedals are a crutch. Oh, you think pedals are a crutch? No, this is a crutch. But the hubcap is really obvious, is obviously a functional guitar. I wish it had a chromed pickup on it.
Sure.
Like it should have a chrome ring and chrome pickup. Like the white pickup isn't working here.
The lug nut knobs is a nice.
I didn't catch that.
Choice.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Like the hubcap works and the logo on the headstock works. You can tell it's all first act stuff, which is fine. Like, and really the price, I know that because one sold is probably each, but it could be all of them.
It's wild to me that the Driftwood sold.
It is in the realm of possibility that all these could be sold for $100 out the door.
Sure.
For $100 each. The whole group, just get them gone. But it's also totally in the realm of possibility that they are $300 each. The gamble is when you write the email to find out, and then the person tells you, and you're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm embarrassed. Now he's going to think I'm poor because I'm not going to throw $300 at a hubcap guitar or a crutch guitar.
I like that this is called, these have themed names. AMC Roadkill, the Crutch 22, it's like the Catch 22.
Here's how we'll do it.
Thing. I think the name is great, but
so
how are we going to do it?
The hubcap guitar, I'm just going to say totally fine with that being $300.
Sure.
The crutch guitar, I feel like that's maybe $125.
Yeah.
The hand guitar, ceramic hands aren't free, I'm sure. I'd have trouble getting excited to pay $60 for that. And then the stick guitar, come on, man, I can make my own stick guitar. Like I could make the crutch. I could make the crutch one too, but that is going to require some extra tooling. I want to see the back of the headstock, the neck plate on that one to see what's going on. But a stick guitar, I could bolt a neck to just about anything.
The way the neck is attached to the stick guitar, that stick's not playable above like the 7th fret.
Right. Well, it's playable. It's just not very, like, none of these are ergonomic, but come on, I bet I could find a stick that I'd like better.
I mean, the hubcap guitar is perfectly ergonomic. It's got all the fret access.
Yeah, it's like an SG. It goes all the way.
Yeah.
It's actually great how well done that is, like they did the full banjo thing. Like it's just not a banjo, it's an electric guitar that happens to be a hubcap, and a cool looking hubcap. I think that's a great looking hubcap. It's like, that's a stylish hubcap in my opinion. And I don't have a lot of hubcap opinions. So you're getting a treat here today, hearing one of them.
I think we've blitzed this ad. I don't know that there's a lot more to say about it.
Yeah.
But so all I have to ask is, what's your Adventurers Club choice?
Yeah. So we had the Super Soaker Jackson.
Yeah.
We had that aluminum guitar.
Yep.
And then we had this grouping. I feel like I'm going with the weird grouping.
I'm going with the weird grouping too.
It's unanimous. We didn't even have to spin.
Yeah, let's just spin because I think
let's find out who would have won.
I think people like the spin. So let's spin.
Here, you spin it this time.
What stakes should be tied to the spin? I feel like there should be stakes.
You would have
I would
won.
have won. Well, congratulations, me, for a great spin, and congratulations to Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys for submitting this very unique collection. And I will be in contact with you. By the time this airs, I've already sent the email. I send it on a delay, so it usually shows up in the Monday afternoon, as long as I remember to do it.
There you go.
One time I forgot to do it, and the reason I forgot to do it, I didn't forget, I just put it off, is because it was when Philip Carter won.
I noticed, correct me if I'm wrong, but I noticed that you scheduled an email to go out to the winner this past week.
Yeah. I do it every week.
You do that every week? So he writes the email.
I write the email when I do the upload,
and then
all that stuff. I write the email, so I write it at like 11 o'clock the night before.
Yeah,
and I schedule it. That one of Google.
I didn't even know you could schedule emails.
Google has Gmail has a built-in option to schedule, and so it'll say like tomorrow morning 8 a.m., tomorrow afternoon 1 p.m. And then you can pick any time you want. So I just do like the tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. It's because like if you send an email at 11 o'clock at night, that's actually important for your business. And then all of like the spammers,
right.
Or like all of the junk mail people send their email at like 4 a.m. Your email is going to get buried by the junk mail. So you email at 8 o'clock, assuming that the business associate you're sending it to checks their email at 9, and you're going to be at the top.
Steve, you're such a professional.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I love it.
That's why you pay me the big bucks.
Yeah.
Ryan, this song was sent by Blue. He says, normally I wait for you to send out the bat signal when you need songs to send. The bat signal's always on. We always want songs.
I like, this is the bat signal for you. I know that you're doing the flaps on a spotlight.
Does it make? I'm like pulling the thing, the rod that makes the flaps open.
Right. No, I know that's what you're doing. But when I would think about, if I would imagine turning on the bat signal,
what would you do?
I mean, it would be a great big cartoonish switch because it's Gotham and everything's got to be exaggerated. So like, Commissioner Gordon would do like the big Frankenstein switch like that to turn it on. Where like a real spotlight, like there's like a key on the back or like a button that you push. Like there's not a big dramatic switch. But I wouldn't go like a ship to ship telegram.
I don't know, man. Anyway, I normally wait for you to send out the bat signal when you need songs to send. I am pre-testing this one because it has a little angle to it. It is technically a cover, but not really. Not for mention on the well, I'm going to mention it anyway because I don't think it's a problem. Not for mention on the podcast, but I did it originally as a gag to learn mandolin chords.
Oh, the old mandolin joke, huh?
So it's a cover in a very loose sense. And YouTube has not flagged it for demonetization because it's too far from the original.
Hey man, I know that game. Like none of my stuff. People always ask, Ryan, does your playing get flagged when you play these riffs? Not once, never once, because I don't play close enough to the originals.
So Blue says, I thought of it this week because it has a wet, surfy sound to it. So we're gonna check it out.
Can't wait to get a little drenched here.
And I know what the cover is, but I'm not going to say it until the end unless you don't figure it out, and then I won't say it at all.
Okay.
1, 2.
love it. And I want more of it. Like, I want to hear, like, there's elements in there. Like, first of all, like, really great execution there doing a cover of Eye of the Tiger. Like, the moment it started, I was like, I know what this, why do I know what this I know exactly what this is going to be. It's so recognizable. I can't place it. And then the moment he, like, the first two words, I was like, there it is. I want to hear more covers of Eye of the Tiger. I want to hear Wall of Voodoo do Eye of the Tiger, because this, like, that the guitar work was very kind of like new wavy, surfy by way of new wave.
Sure.
Wall of Voodoo. But I want to hear like the synth and the orchestra and the new wave voice in the Eye of the Tiger, like that sort of thing.
Right.
I want to hear Jack Johnson do an acoustic bonfire beach ballad out of it. I want to hear Gary Jules' Mad World cover style version of it. Like spooky, quiet, like emotional.
The drum just like,
yeah.
Cowbell.
In the eye.
I really liked it. So I think, here's what I'll say. I did really like this. Two, even if I didn't like it, and part of the reason I liked it is because this is what you did, Blue, is what I want out of cover songs.
Yes.
Like when, there are a lot.
I know where he's going, and I already agree.
There's a lot of back in my day, back in the early 2000s, there was a whole series. I don't know when they stopped doing them. Maybe they haven't stopped doing them, of like pop goes punk.
Yeah, I loved all those.
Punk goes acoustic, whatever, crunk. They had one that was like crunk goes punk.
And they did that all with like ska bands too, like all these ska cover compilations and stuff.
Ska bands would do a lot of them. And also that's why one of my favorite cover songs, I forgot about this one until you mentioned ska, is Real Big Fish's Take on Me is fantastic.
Yeah, dude.
But the ones that were always like really disappointing to me is when it was like a punk band or pop punk band doing like a Beach Boys cover, and they try to do it like as if like, oh, we're going to do as close to a Beach Boys cover as we can.
Like trying to recreate it. But there's two schools of thought for covers in my head. The one that we like, and I think most people probably prefer, is when it reinvents the song.
Yeah.
It flips it on its head. It introduces an element of irony, like, oh, this and that style.
Yeah.
And they're actually doing it in a really fun way. Like Cake did a cover of War Pigs, and I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love that cover. Like, the Cake has nailed a lot of covers over the years.
Yeah.
And then the whole other side of it is trying to nail it and get as close as you can. You bring a little bit of your style into it, sure, but it's like you're trying to recreate it. And I can't help but think that the only reason that sort of thing exists is because some movie wanted to play a song on their end credits, and they didn't want to pay the licensing for it. And it's a lot cheaper to hire even a notable band to do a new cover than it is to license, say, The Sound of Silence, by Simon and Garfunkel. Like things like I'm just saying, like, a lot of times when I hear like dead covers or like really, really close covers, is like this is the result of money. This is a result of someone saying we could save $300,000 if we re-record it, even with a notable artist, and so that's just the business of it.
Was the Disturbed Sound of Silence for a movie soundtrack?
I don't know, but that is like my instinct that I get when like I hear that. I bet it was on a movie soundtrack.
I literally have no idea. I know a lot of people who really love that.
It was probably at the end of Transformers 19 or something.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to find it. Sound of Silence.
I hate that cover, by the way.
Oh my gosh. I hate it.
I know people who love it. We know someone who loves it.
Are we thinking of the same person?
Yes, we are.
Are you sure we're thinking?
Well, they moved to one of the Carolinas for church stuff?
No.
Okay, we're thinking of a different person. Who do you know who loves it?
I'm thinking of Sam Miller.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that kind of tracks. Here's
the thing about this is, and I guess like, you know,
I was thinking of Kyle.
Oh, he moved to Virginia, but
Yeah,
either way.
Yeah, close enough. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't see. I don't see this as being something that they did for any particular reason. It doesn't. I think it's just on an
But
album.
it has that vibe to me, you know.
Yeah, it has the vibe of like they did it just the way that it's like if they just tried to do Simon and Garfunkel. It's got a little more orchestral in it than the original, and I would have preferred. Oh, that's why what's the?
I just don't like his voice at
what
all.
was the first?
And if you're gonna redo it, like there's so many creative things you could do with the Sound of Silence.
So Disturbed is the Down with the Sickness. I don't know their music.
Right.
I do know Down with the Sickness. Come on.
It's
get
not really
down.
his voice that I don't like. It's his vocal. How do I say this? It's the way he puts words together. Like
if that song had a few of those like ahs on it, like okay, like you're doing something with it. Like you're a hard rock band. I don't need to hear you, Simon and Garfunkel. If you hard rocked it, I still might not like it, but at least I can respect it. I don't respect their version. That's the problem with it. I don't respect the Disturbed
this is
cover
a rant
of Sound
that
of
we should have
Silence.
had 5 years ago.
I did have that rant 5 years. I'm pretty sure I put it somewhere.
But that's how we feel about covers, and why we liked this one so much. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing a fun thing with it. I really liked it a lot.
If you're gonna cover it and make it sound like the original, then you should not do it anywhere except at a bar on 80s night or whatever.
Right.
Simon and Garfunkel would be 60s night, but still.
Sure.
70s night? 60s night. It was on The Graduate.
Late 60s.
1968, 1969, 1967? I don't know.
One of them. It was a late 60s thing.
Yeah.
Because that was when the 60s were moving into like folky stuff,
That's why Me First and the Gimme Gimmes works so well, because they take all these songs that they cover and they make them all punk.
I mean, even freaking Lemonhead's
Dude,
Cuckoo
Lemonheads.
Mrs. Robinson
like
that's it's pretty straight, but it definitely brings a different style into it.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that's a study in doing a cover real good.
You don't have to like change it up to be
No,
unrecognizable.
like it doesn't have to be full ironic, but like make it clear this is not the original.
Yeah.
Like make it clear.
Like I actually think the President's cover of Video Killed the Radio Star is really like it
really
fits because it's very
right.
much President's, but it's also very obvious that it's like
it's
Video
not
Killed the
that
Radio
it's
Star.
not that far off the vibe of the original. Like definitely it keeps the same energy.
Yeah.
But they change the personality of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Bye everybody.
Stay grounded.